It's been misting. It's really humid out here. It's 62 degrees. Hard to believe it was only 3 degrees right here just a couple of days ago. My glasses are fogging. Adding a little bit more challenge to this. I'm going to start in the back because when these explode, they tend to take out the others with them. That was awesome. Oh! That's what I was talking about, but I got it. It just became candy shrapnel. About near cut that apple in half. Not quite. I think I did cut it in half. Let's see. Oh, I did! I did cut it in half. It was just stuck together by one of the golf tees. That's hilarious. Well, that's what I tried to do. I guess I shouldn't have been expecting it to blow off. It is only a .22 caliber air rifle, but that was pretty awesome. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Twang and Bang. Immediately upon introduction, the Umarex Gauntlet became one of the hottest selling PCP rifles on the market. But that was no surprise to anybody because it offers regulated, super accurate performance at a market price under $300. That alone is enough to put it at the top of any PCP gun buyer's list. But at that price, it also offers an adjustable cheek riser. It also offers an adjustable trigger. It also offers a moderated barrel. Combination of features like that is something you typically don't find until you're spending about double what the Gauntlet costs. Airgun Depot sent me this rifle so I could see for myself whether or not it's worth all that hype. And that's what's coming up next on Twang and Bang. The Umarex Gauntlet is a pre-charged pneumatic air rifle designed specifically to offer high-end performance and features at a budget-friendly price. It's currently offered in .177 as well as a .22 caliber you see here. The Gauntlet is a bolt-action repeater with a 10-shot rotary magazine. In fact, the magazine is the same as that on the popular Benjamin Marauder, right down to the number that indicates which shot you're on. A pellet sled is also included when you prefer to hand-feed the chamber rather than load magazines. Pellets are launched from a fully moderated barrel, making it backyard quiet despite delivering between 20 to 25 foot-pounds of kinetic energy depending on caliber and pellet weight. Below that barrel lies a forend that doubles as a bottle shroud. The shape provides a nice flat surface for shooting off bags or a windowsill, yet is still comfortable in the hand for unsupported shooting. The 13 cubic inch onboard bottle is regulated to allow 60 to 70 shots at consistent velocities between fills and is probably the feature most surprising to find on a PCP at this price. This really enhances the Gauntlet's ability to put pellets where you're aiming, whether you're punching holes in paper, plinking, or hunting small game. The bottle's filled via a standard Foster quick disconnect fitting, so you don't need to worry about losing a proprietary fill stem like with many PCPs. The bottle can also be dumped using the included key via a pressure release fitting in the receiver. This would only be necessary when switching bottles or traveling, so it might not be a feature many Gauntlet owners use, even though it's a nice option to have. That key also doubles as a sling stud wrench, which is needed to unlock the wheel adjuster for the cheek riser. A pistol-like grip angle is straight from precision shooting rigs and allows a very straight pull of the adjustable single-stage trigger. An 11mm dovetail accepts standard airgun optics and rings. Airgun Depot also supplied a Hawk 4 to 12 power scope, which I found is a great combination with the Gauntlet. Loading the rotary mag is just like loading the rotary mag on most guns like this. You just turn the mag all the way. This has a nice catch on it, so you don't have to sit there and hold it. Some mags don't. You want to make sure you cover that hole, drop the first pellet in, nose down, then advance it all the way to the next spot. Drop it in, advance, drop it in, advance, and This is actually telling you right there, you can see this is actually the 8th shot. Now I'm loading the 7th shot. There you go, super easy. That shot indicator is very helpful, especially when you're shooting one-hole groups and can't count the impacts on the paper. It's very easy to see without pulling your head too far out of shooting position. Note that it indicates which shot you're about to take versus telling you how many shots you have left or how many you've already shot. The carousel blocks the bolt when empty, letting you know it's time to change mags. The Gauntlet comes with this multi-tool of sorts. It looks like a key because it is to degas the Gauntlet. You want to make sure that you have this pointed down range because all of the gas is going to exit the barrel. You want to make sure that you have cleared it and actually fired it to get the bolt forward and the spring forward. And then you just keep it oriented forward, I guess, until it's fully degassed, and then pull it out. Once you have it degassed, you can use this tool to remove the front sling stud. Which is how you remove the fore end to remove the bottle. And the Gauntlet uses a pretty standard 13 cubic inch, 3000 PSI bottle. You want to make sure that its output pressure is no greater than 1250, probably no less than 1000 PSI to be able to get this to work. But you'll get 60 shots per bottle, and if you get a couple extra bottles, you can have a full day of shooting without having to worry about getting more fills. Getting the fore end back on was a little tricky for me the first couple times I did this. But what it takes is getting everything close to lined up, and it's not going to want to snap in, but if you just pop it at the bottom as you're pushing down, there we go, everything pops into place. Then you want to make sure you have the top tabs aligned, and then you are going to replace the sling stud. And you're ready to shoot again. That little popping at the bottom took me a little bit of time and frustration to figure out, but that's the way you get it done. The 13 cubic inch bottle combined with a Foster quick disconnect means that topping off from a transfer bottle is quick and easy. Max pressure is 3000 PSI, though the Gauntlet's regulator means you'll still get a lot of shots from any fill over 1500 PSI or so. That means you can still have a ton of fun shooting without running out to get your transfer bottle topped off, or in a pinch you can get a fill from a scuba shop that only has a 3000 PSI compressor. The adjustable stock is also a really cool feature to find on a sub $300 PCP gun. One of the ways they're able to offer that is by having a very rudimentary adjustment wheel that's actually locked down by the sling stud. So you have to loosen the sling stud, basically pull it out, in order for the adjustment wheel to turn. And then you'll hear clicks, but those aren't really detents. It's not going to stay in place. But I have it all the way up because of the high optic that I have on this. You're going to have to kind of find where it pops back into place. There. And you'll feel it kind of pop into place. And then that's good. The adjustment's good. Your cheek riser is good. And hopefully your cheek weld is good too. A nice feature in a Gauntlet that you don't typically see in a sub $300 gun is an adjustable trigger. But I want to show you how it came from the factory for me. There's a lot of pre-travel and it's very creaky. It's not smooth at all. There's not really a wall, and then it just breaks, and then it's spongy after the break. Creep, 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 crunchy creep, and then it breaks. Clearly, this is not impacting my ability to get good groups down range. So I decided not to go through the hour or two process that I've heard it can take to get all three adjustments in sync to where you get a nicer trigger pull and the trigger breaks when you want it to and not when you want it to. I just rather send stuff downrange. So it's good that it has an adjustable trigger. The trigger as it comes from the factory isn't that great. If you want to put the time into making it better, you can. It's probably still not going to be a fantastic trigger when you're done. But in the end, that's been good enough to get bug hole grooves at 25 yards. The ergonomics shine when shooting off a bench like this. Running the Gauntlet is a one-hand affair. I can keep my cheek on the riser, my eye on the crosshairs and target, steady my aim with my offhand while my trigger hand does all the work. The pistol grip makes a nice spot to hook my thumb for leverage when cocking the stiff hammer spring. Smaller shooters might have trouble loading the Gauntlet spring like this, but if your hand is big enough, this is definitely the easiest and smoothest way to run the bolt. The safety is also easily accessed with no way to mistake its position. If you can fit your finger in a trigger guard, the safety is on fire. If not, it's on safe. Though I've read that some gauntlets aren't picky about ammo, mine definitely had its favorites. At 25 yards, it printed sub-quarter-inch groups with both the Gammo Match Diablo and the H&N Field Target Trophy pellets. That's on par with quality 22 rimfire firearms. It did not like many of the other pellets I tried, with groups looking like this one from the Barracuda Hunter Extreme. That's still good enough for hunting regardless, but for pinpoint accuracy, I'm going to stick with match ammo. Pre-charged pneumatics like the Gauntlet do require an external source of high-pressure air. That doesn't mean that you need to get a transfer bottle like this and find a source of high-pressure fills, because the Gauntlet is hand pump friendly. The hand pump that I'm talking about is one specifically designed for air rifles like this, and it generates a very high-pressure output. Takes a lot of work to do that, but since this only has a 13 cubic inch bottle, and since it has a regulator that allows dozens of full velocity shots at a partial fill of around 2000 psi, a hand pump is very doable with the Gauntlet. And if that's something that you're interested in, I do have a combination with a discounted price from Airgun Depot linked in the video description. When evaluated at its street price of $300, the Gauntlet is an impressive offering. It is not going to put high-end PCP makers out of business by any stretch, but it does offer a nice set of features for a new PCP buyer on a budget, or even a PCP enthusiast looking for a cheaper rifle to take into the woods. Be sure to check the video description for a couple different discounted combinations I have from Airgun Depot. Using those links lets Airgun Depot know that you learned of the Gauntlet here on this channel, which also means it makes it easier for me to get cool stuff like this to review in the future. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. You can see the links down here, and be sure to click right here to subscribe so you can catch my next videos on bows, guns, and other cool stuff like this Gauntlet. I really appreciate you watching Twang and Bang, and I hope to see you next time.